Hello there everyone, it's Once a Future Gamer here and welcome to another Pokemon challenge. Last week, ahead of Valentine's Day, we took on Pokemon Fire Red with a single love disc, a challenge that ultimately turned out to be pretty smooth thanks to a lot of early game stat prep. Today though, something different, my first challenge in this particular game as I answer the question of whether or not I can beat Pokemon Heart Gold with only a single Regigigas. This is officially my 25th Pokemon challenge, so I figured I'd do something different. Now then, about Regigigas. It has a base stat total of 670, the lowest in any of its stats being 80 in special attack. So, why is this a challenge, you may ask? Well, the ability we have is slow start, so for the first 5 turns in battle, our speed and attack is halved. This could be brutal. 670 is the same as Groudon, Kyogre, Zacian, Zamazenta, and the other bad ability Pokemon, Slacking. I did something similar to this in Emerald a few weeks back with the exact same Pokemon. Normally, we do this later, but I'll get it out of the way now. The rules. In combat, I can only use Regigigas. Other Pokemon will be needed for HMs but unable to fight. In battle, I cannot use any items except Pokeballs. Held items are not permitted. I can still heal outside of battle though. I'm not permitted to use any moves outside of Regigigas' natural move set. No TMs, no HMs, no move relearner. Last of all, no glitches or exploits that I have any sort of control over. Now, about our moveset. If I've gotten it right, we should start with Dizzy Punch, Knock Off, Foresight and Confuse Ray. After that, we only get moves at the quarter century marks, Revenge at level 25, Zen Headbutt at 50, Crush Grip at 75 and Giga Impact at 100. I was originally going to permit use of the move relearner, but I figured that might make things too easy. Just the predictions then. Claire, Chuck and Jasmine could be brutal. Morty might not be too bad, but I can see there being issues if I don't prepare adequately. We're genderless, so it's not like Whitney's Miltank can seduce us. I think we can beat the league for sure, but I'm not quite convinced as to how easy the late game will be. That's the goal anyway. It's been a while since I played through these games, so it'll be an interesting trip down memory lane. I visit Professor Elm to go get my starter after listening to the world's greatest spiel from Professor Oak. Using the Universal Pokemon Randomizer, I replaced Cyndaquil with Regigigas. I figure for Alligator might be the hardest one for us to fight. Just the feeling. Definitely seems the most imposing. I could be wrong, but there's probably not much in it between the other 3 starters. I name it Reggie because I'm simple like that. Reggie has the lonely nature, increased attack and lower defense. I can live with that. And just like that, we're on the road again. I think about EVs. Sentret, give attack EVs. That seems as good a place as any due to our nature. Weedle, Pidgey and Rattata all will give speed EVs. That's probably another good route to go down. Grinding at the start is slow. We can't one-hit the local wildlife at first. Dizzy Punch is a good move, but it has low PP, and Knock Off is not the move here that it would become in later gens. Both Foresight and Confuse Ray are situational at best. Anyway, grinding away, it's not long before I wander into Cherry Grove City and get the bum's rush from the weird old man with the running shoes. Heading north, I get to Mr. Pokemon and the phone call that makes us rush back home. Before that though, there is the first rival fight. He sends out a Totodile to face my mighty Reggie. We have a frigging Titan versus a tiny Croc. Wonder how this one will go. It's badly for him as Reggie lands a Dizzy Punch on Totodile and probably knocks it into the middle of next week, as well as separating it from most of its teeth. Moving swiftly on. With that quest out of the way, I head towards Violet City. I'm on the road again. I immediately head to the gym, but they won't let me fight Faulkner until I've beaten Sprout Tower because I might not be strong enough. With my legendary Pokemon in hand, I head off, little miffed. Crushing the guy's head might be an option, but it wouldn't be very family friendly, so let's go tackle the tower instead. Compromise. When I do return to the gym, it's a clash between land and sky, and in this instance, land wins, as Reggie beats the stuffing out of Faulkner's Pokemon, battering down Pidgey with Dizzy Punch. Pidgeotto is harder, but the fight goes on long enough for Slow Start to fade away, and Reggie promptly ends it with another Dizzy Punch after I stalled it with knockoffs and Dizzy Punches priorly. The first fight where we needed Slow Start to fade before we could win. I wonder if they'll all be that smooth. We head south through Union Cave and into Azalea Town. I kick Team Rocket out after a fight with Proton since I can't hit the gym until we've done that. The cruelest and scariest guy in Team Rocket apparently. Even if he is a man who uses a level 12 Pokemon as his ace. I'm shaking in my little boots as Reggie makes short work of his Pokemon and then I go make a run on Bugsy. I'm not sure how this one will go. That Cypher can be a frigging monster. When he U-turns the Cypher out into Metapod and does a lot of damage into the bargain, I go tactical and stall it with Confuse Rays and knockoffs until Reggie's slow start finishes, and then I lamp all 3 of his Pokemon out with Dizzy Punch, putting a Swift End to Bugsy as a challenge. The Cypher was faster before, but not after our stats returned to normal. Before we can leave town, there's a fight with Rival Rod. Why do I name my rival Rod given a choice? Because a long time ago, I thought it'd be funny. Because in my experience, the rival's personalities often equate to that of a certain male anatomical part. Yeah, I think that says far more about me and my sense of humour than you ever needed to know. Ghastly is something we have to use knockoff on, but we don't get messed up, thankfully. Croconaw actually wrecks our speed with 3 scary faces, but we take it out before Zubat misses Supersonic and Reggie crushes it with Dizzy Punch. Let's move on. Next we have Whitney. This one is always fun. Not. What is handy is that Reggie learns Revenge during a fight with a gym trainer, so we have at least one super effective move, even if it is decreased priority. The Whitney fight isn't even close to being challenging. Clefairy gets a metronome off, but it only produces last resort. I take 3 turns to knock it out thanks to a heal. By the time Miltank comes out and gets a few attacks off, it can't really hurt us, even with a stab stomp, but we soon take it out with Dizzy Punch and Revenge attacks, coupled with a few knockoffs to take out its berry. That ensures we get the 3rd badge. Arriving in Ecruteak City, I figure Morty might be the first of the really hard gym leaders. If we can survive long enough to get over slow start, we might be fine, but our only attacking move is knockoff, and quite frankly, it sucks in this gen with 20 base damage, and it's not stab either. Sure, we've got a great 3-figured attack stat at this point, but we'll have to see. In the Burn Tower, there's a rival fight. This goes badly, and I think it's a problem we'll have versus Morty too, when we get hit with Curse by Ghastly. Thanks to us being slower, it outspeeds us twice and lands Confuse Ray plus Curse, meaning we're on a timer throughout the fight. Magnemite also confuses us, we take that out with Revenge, but even with Reggie getting its act together, we're just not quite strong enough to one-hit Croconaw, ending the fight. I go off to fight the trainers to the west of Ecruteak. We were just that little bit too weak to one-hit Ghastly, so I'll try this again shortly. I come back at level 30 and listen to his diatribe once again about how I'm too weak to handle a legendary Pokemon, despite the fact I have Reggie stood behind me. Bad observation skills there, pal. It goes badly the second time, after Ghastly lands a first turn Curse, and we get paralysed by Magnemite before being taken out by Croconaw. At least we got him down to his last one there. The Curse wasn't good there. Maybe I move on, head even further west to Olivine and fight a few more trainers. That's one option, but instead I head east and do some training in Mount Mortar, even hitting Mahogany Town. Not that we can do anything in this area yet. I make a 3rd try on Rod at level 32. We managed to outspeed Ghastly this time. We still can't one-hit it, which is worrying for the Ghost Gym, but it only uses Mean Luck, so we can 2-hit it while coming out unscathed. Magnemite paralyses us, which is a problem, but we take it out with Revenge. We take Croconaw out with a pair of Dizzy Punches, and Zubat out with the same move, meaning that at least we do take the V for victory this time. So, that's something. I might come back to Morty later because I think we might struggle at this level. Knockoff is genuinely that bad in this game. At this point, I truly start to believe there's a chance I might have to come back with Zen Headbutt, which we get at level 50. I'll have to think on that one. I might as well make an effort while I'm here, but I'm not expecting much versus Morty. You know what? He wastes a turn healing his Ghastly, which makes a lot of difference in this fight. It takes 3 turns to knock it out with Knockoff. Haunter uses Curse, which is bad, but we can take it out on a single turn. Knockoff does take Gengar's Citrus Berry out of the equation, and as it uses Mean Luck, Reggie gets its act together and then lamps it with a crit Knockoff that takes it out, before we do in the last Haunter with Knockoff as well. 4 badges down. Awesome sauce. Anyway, the next 2 gyms could be interesting. One from a defensive point of view, and one from an offensive point of view. The fighting gym, where we will be up against super effective damage, and the steel type gym, where we will find it hard to hit reliably hard. I decide to make a try on Chuck while I'm in Siamwood City, see how this particular throwdown goes. I think Poliwrath might be tricky, but we should be okay versus Primeape. Primeape does land a Rock Slide after using Double Team, but we do take it out with a pair of Dizzy Punches. Versus Poliwrath, it all comes crashing down after it puts Reggie to sleep with a Hypnosis and then sparks it out with a pair of Focus Punches. So, that's not good then. I make another try immediately after just to see if it does any sort of good. If not, I'll head back and try Jasmine, come back later. The second time goes about as badly as it can, as Primeape one hits Reggie from full health with a focus punch after I made the choice to go for Confuse Ray. I'll come back later, I think. Maybe with Zen Headbutt. I think we can probably do it at a lower level than 50, but we'll see. Jasmine then. I think if I can avoid getting too badly messed up versus the Magnemites, I think I can do this at this level. We should be able to tank a few attacks. Is Revenge going to be enough versus Steelix? I don't know if I'm honest, we'll have to see. This fight was horrible when I took an OG Silver with a single Hoot. I remember that. Anyway, we get Paralysed versus Magnemite number 1, but we take it out with Revenge. We get Confused versus Magnemite number 2, but take it out with Revenge. Steelix is an interesting fight. It misses Iron Tail a bunch of times, which is about absolute par for my experience with the move. When Reggie finally gets its act together, it's enough to take down the Steelix with Revenge, because it probably wouldn't have been enough otherwise. I head back over to Mahogany Town and decide to do the Lake of Rage and Team Rocket stuff. Then, with that out of the way, I figure I might as well make an effort on Price. This one is smooth, he can't really hurt us. Seal isn't a problem. When Piloswine puts up hail and lands a few blizzards, avoiding a revenge attack, it is a momentary setback, but it does still go down. Probably the most annoying of the three is Dewgong. It cuts our attack with Aurora Beam and he heals it twice, but Reggie eventually clubs it down with its bare fists, so yeah, 6 badges down. I take the long road back to Cianwood City. Remember, I don't have Fly yet, so I've got to walk and make another attempt on Chuck. I wonder if we're faster than Primeape this time. I can't really afford to screw around with them, both knowing Focus Punch. Reggie can at least tank 3 Focus Punch attacks from Poliwrath at that level, but if it stays asleep, then it doesn't matter because sooner or later it'll be fatal. I make a 4th attempt and think about it logically here. I think the issue is Poliwrath. It's tanky, especially when we're weak. So I stall on Primeape, going for Confuse Rays and knockoffs, just in case it gets any sort of idea about trying to use Focus Punch attacks. Dizzy Punch will one-hit it, but I don't want to do that yet. It does finally go for Focus Punch, but I land Dizzy Punch as Reggie gets its act together and our stats return to normal. Then Poliwrath comes out and Reggie promptly folds it like a lawn chair with a single punch as it faces the full and mitigated might of my Pokemon. Given at level 47 our attack stands at just a few short of 200 points, that's not entirely surprising. That was probably the hardest fight so far. We've got more of the Team Rocket stuff next, including the fight with Patrell and his amazing army of Coughings, which apparently is his idea of not holding back. I think the only thing that might be taking a kick in there is the local air quality, and that soon gets accompanied by another rival fight, the Joy. Mind you, now that he starts with Golbat rather than Haunter, it's a much easier fight. Stall with Confuse Ray versus Golbat and Feraligatr, and it's not long before we're up and running, slow start to bad memory, and we go on the sweep through the rest of his team, taking them out in a series of brutal attacks. I replace Knockoff with Zen Headbutt. I'm not a huge fan of Zen Headbutt because of the accuracy, but it's probably a better option for our moves. Knockoff has its uses, but it's just too weak to be reliably useful. You know, I don't know if I have mentioned that so far in this video. The Archer fight is the culmination in this part of the game, and it's pretty easy to brute force his Houndour and his Houndoom with Revenge and his Coughing with Zen Headbutt. With that out of the way, I hit the road to Blackthorn and the final gym. I'm not sure how this Claire fight will be. Unpleasant might be a good guess on my part. I can't see it going smoothly. We lose a lot of health versus Gyarados and our attack is lowered thanks to Intimidate. By the time we knock it out with a crit, Reggie has the act together. Dragonair narrowly survives Zen Headbutt and paralyses Reggie, even though we do knock it out. Kingdra is just that bit too much to deal with what's left. Now let me think on this. I put a few more levels on, then see if this makes a difference. Just a touch more to the attack stat could be vital. Stall versus Gyarados. It outspeeds and lands Dragon Rage. Thankfully, that's the only damage I take from it as I Confuse Ray it. It hits itself twice and we take it out with 2 Dizzy Punches. I go for the same strat versus Dragonair and manage to get through the fight without being paralysed after taking it out with a crit Dizzy Punch. Versus Kingdra, Reggie gets the act together. I go for a Zen Headbutt to hope for a flinch, but get a second crit on Dizzy Punch after it lands a Hydro Pump. Last Dragonair isn't an issue. Now we just have to deal with Claire being high maintenance, and then we can head off to face the League. Or I guess not. I remember now, you can't skip this stuff in HGSS like you can in OG Gold and Silver. I guess we've got to head back to Ekritique and take on the Kimono Girls, one after the other. This will probably not be fun, but I suppose I've got faith in Reggie. Of these fights, probably the hairiest moment comes when Espeon, on the second fight, hits Reggie with a crit psychic that takes us to half health. Though we take a Fire Blast from Flareon and a Surf from Vaporeon, we're able to fight through them all with health to spare. Just the bell tower stuff to get out of the way, and then we can carry on. While this whole thing with OO showing up goes off, I'd just like to say a few words. This is officially my 25th Pokemon Challenge, so I think that's something of note. I've enjoyed doing them immensely, and if you've watched any or many of them, then thank you so much for joining me on these treks. It came out of this thing about putting your money where your mouth was. I watched people do it and I was like, I could do that, so I put up rather than shut up. Many moons ago I did my first Pokemon Pearl with a single Glammy out, and it remains, at the time of writing, my third most popular video, after Fire Red with Meditite and the surprise hit of Emerald with Cacnea. These have been incredible romps, all of them. I've had a great time doing them. Some have been frustrating, but I think the key word in all of this is challenge, so it is what it is. As time goes by, I do want to attempt more complicated stuff, but we'll have to see about that. Thanks for listening. This has been a Once and Future Gamers service announcement, I guess. Thanks for the memories. 25 down. Here's to 25 more. 50 more. 100? Can we reach that number? It's something to aim for. Anyway, I head to the Pokemon League, moving through Victory Road, and there's someone waiting for us at the end. A final fight with Rod. That horrible one in Burn Tower feels a long time ago now, if I'm honest. It's stall tactics with Confuse Ray versus Sneasel and Feraligatr. They both land some hits, but nothing serious before Reggie gets its act together as Feraligatr goes down, and the rest of them are pretty simple. Magneton does land a Magnet Bomb, but it does little before we take it out. Let's head into the Indigo Plateau. Just before we head in there to face the Elite Four, here's a quick look at our stats. You can tell we did a lot of EV training for that attack stat at the start, and we've got a beneficial nature. At level 61, we have 250 points of attack, admittedly cut for the first 5 turns. Defense is mediocre thanks to the nature, but to be fair, still probably better than most Pokemon I've used going into challenges. We're not using that special attack stat. Special defense and speed are both better than okay too. I think we'll be fine here. If we can avoid getting too badly messed up, stats condition or stat drop wise, we'll get through this. Final predictions on whether or not I can do this or not, and go. Psychic Trainer Will is first. He's not too much trouble, largely as he is responsible for his own downfall when he U-turns his Xatu out for Jinx, who puts Reggie to sleep. That's good because it means we're not attacking while weakened. Slowbro is a bit annoying, it just survives Dizzy Punch, meaning we've got to waste PP hitting it again. That might be my problem throughout this, you know, keeping enough PP, especially on Dizzy Punch. Anyway, the rest of them aren't a problem, we sweep through his team. Koga is next. I foresee a lot of Zen Headbutts in the near future. It's not missed that much so far, to be fair, so I bet this will be the fight where the accuracy suddenly decides to fall off a cliff. Well, I'm partly right, it does miss during this fight. Ariados goes down to Zen Headbutt. I kind of stole versus Forretress, going for Confuse Rays and Zen Headbutts before trying to knock it out with Revenge. Muck goes down to Zen Headbutt after Reggie gets its act together. Crobat is where Zen Headbutt misses and it goes for double team. Thankfully, the second Zen Headbutt lands before Venomoth goes down 2 to the same move. 2 down, 2 to go. Bruno is next, and as he's a fighting trainer, this could get messy. We struggled with Chuck earlier. Mind you, we've got a better move for dealing with fighting types now. Mind you, we can't quite knock out Hitmontop with one hit, meaning we get tagged by Dig. Hitmonlee outspeeds and hits Swagger. We do knock it out, but have 2 HP left thanks to confusion damage and getting tagged by a high jump and blaze kick. Machamp we one hit. Versus Onix, Zen Headbutt does what Zen Headbutt tends to do and misses, meaning it can take us out with Rock Slide. Mind you, I don't think we'd have beaten Hitmonchan, not if it had a priority punching attack like Mach Punch. Anyway, before I re-challenge, I decided to go hunting for PP ups, maybe pop a few more levels on. I try again at level 65, it takes a few attempts where I learn Bruno's Hitmonchan actually has Bullet Punch, not Mach Punch, but eventually I stall Hitmontop for 5 turns and go into Hitmonlee at full power, meaning I'm fast enough to hit it before it hits me, strong enough to one-hit Machamp and Onix, as well as having enough HP left that Hitmonchan can't come out and priority attack with a Bullet Punch. Anyway, that's Bruno down thankfully, 1 left. And that one in question is Karen. I've made the joke about demanding to see the manager before, so I'm not doing it again. Actually, if you want the joke again, comment away below and tell me. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithms, apparently. Karen does try some housery when I'm trying to knock Umbreon out with Revenge, swapping into Gengar and landing Spite. Not that it bothers me as I knock it out with Zen Headbutt. I doubt I'll be using Revenge against the Flying type champion. Houndoom hits Reggie with a Flamethrower and then gets broken by Revenge. The axe gets brought together and Murkrow, Umbreon and Vileplume quickly realise they don't stand much of a chance. Just Lance left then. I make half a dozen attempts and realise very quickly that it can't be done at this level with this moveset. If I had Thunder Punch and Ice Punch from the move relearner, it'd probably be over very quickly. The Gyarados messes me up. His Ace Dragonite comes in to finish me off. That Outrage does a lot of damage. Plus, as I realise, after several attempts, I'd forgotten about Dragonite's ability, so it's not like we can even flinch it with Zen Headbutt, as I was trying to do. That was a waste of several attempts. Guess I grind then. I see if I can brute force this. I face the Elite Four over and over until I get back to Lance at level 69. Nice, I guess. A few more levels, a bit more attack power, let's see if it benefits. I very nearly get away with it. Gyarados goes down, Free Dragonite go down, Charizard goes down, despite leaving me weak with an Air Slash. Then Aerodactyl comes out, I've got no Dizzy Punches left, no reversals, free Zen Headbutt PP left, free HP left. I go for Zen Headbutt, it misses, and Aerodactyl Rock Slides Reggie out of existence. That was the closest we came. Okay, I guess we go again then. Another run through the Elite Four. I try Lance again at level 73. This one goes worse than last time, though it's not helped by the first Dragonite landing 2 Outrages and the second one hitting a Thunder Wave. Those Dragonite do a ton of damage when they hit Outrage because of our weaker physical defense, so it's another failed attempt. Here we go again. Another attempt at level 75. This one goes bad as I get paralysed again. Bad paralysis luck means the third Dragonite comes out and lands 3 Dragon Rush attacks in a row without Reggie being able to land a counter hit. End of the attempt. We make yet another try at level 78. Once again, we go down after getting paralysed. That said, we are getting closer to one hitting the level 49 Dragonite with Dizzy Punch. I'm getting horrible flinch luck on Gyarados too with Zen Headbutt, I'll point out. By that, I've not had anything. Keep grinding, I guess. I finally make another try at level 85. Given I was running out of Ethers and Elixirs, I didn't want to waste them. This time, everything that could go right does. We get some flinches against Gyarados as a first time for everything. We don't get messed up by the first Dragonite's Outrage. We crit the following 2 Dragonite with Dizzy Punch and the Charizard goes down in similar fashion. Versus Aerodactyl, I've got enough health left to feel confident in calling for revenge and it duly hits us with Rock Slide before Reggie hits it back and then some, giving me the victory at long last and I enter the Hall of Fame. Oh my word, that last fight was pretty brutal. I knew we could do it eventually, just a case of when, not if. Now normally, in Johto games we'd go on to do the post-game in Kanto, but given the amount of time I think it took to do that first part, I think we'll draw a line under it here. We've done the main chunk of it, so I'm happy to call that what it is, a wrap. A bit of a damp squib of an ending maybe? Well, I hope you don't feel that way. In fact, I'd rather you enjoyed it as it was. So yeah, Challenge 25, something a bit different. We've done games with 2 of the 3 main bad abilities, Truant and Slow Start now. There is one left I might look into in the future. Defeatist, anyone? I hope you enjoyed this, really. Not too bad a running place as just that horrible Dragonite-a-thon at the end, which took any sort of inclination to start piddling about in the post-game away from me. Join me next week for another challenge, and there is that because this took way more time than I thought it would. I think we're going to go for something a little less complicated next week. How about... Tell you what, how does this one sound? Pokemon Red with a single Clefairy. We've not done OG Red since early December when we took it on with Agatha's team and moves. Join me for that one, it's sure to be a blast. If you have enjoyed this, then don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that sort of jazz. Let me know what you've thought. If you've got any ideas for challenges, then drop me a comment below. Drop by my Twitter feed or the upcoming Discord section I'm still in the process of setting up. Until next Saturday, all I can do is say that this has been Once and Future Gamer. This has been Pokemon Heart Gold with a single Regigigas. I hope you've enjoyed it, and for now, I bid you adieu. Good night, folks.